It says we're not streaming live, so let's see. Yeah, we're live. So hey guys, listen, this technology, this technology does not want to let us be great, right? So I wanted to come and definitely want to check and make sure that we're live and that we're showing airing up for you guys. We want to come and do a quick chat with you guys to celebrate my surgery anniversary and to talk about it. So my name is Sequoia Ashe Taylor. I'm the CEO and founder of Ashe Wellness, and I'm also the founder of the Living the Wellness Life community group. And what I do is that I help stressed and frustrated women to heal themselves from hidden stressors so that they can be healthy, happy, and gain harmony, right? How we do that is that we distress the mess and that we test and not guess. And so a part of my journey, I will be remiss if I don't include where my journey kind of started in a way. I started like being 294 pounds is the biggest I can remember. I think it could have been 296, but I always go with 294 on the scale, trying many diets, trying many fads, trying many shakes, lotion, potions, pills. If you name it, I can probably claim that I've tried it or at least attempted or heard about it, right? And so in May 20th, 2013, I went in to have the gastric sleeve. Now, most people think that this is very easy to do. They think that is not like a big deal. This is the easy route. Now, subsequently, I'm like, okay, it's easier than some other ways. But I get asked all the time, questions after questions after questions about benefits, pros, cons of that actual surgery, right? So I felt like today was no better day to come and actually share a little bit of my journey with you to have a candid chat. If you guys have questions, first of all, if you're live, say hi. If you have any questions, be sure to ask the questions. And then if you're watching a replay, put hashtag replay. If the message resonates with you, then please do share because I think this is a candid conversation, especially for our community to be able to talk about this as well. But I have a special bonus for you guys. I am being joined by the amazing Jessica Jeffrey, and she's going to tell you a little bit about herself as to why she's actually on this live with me to talk about this conversation. So, Jessica, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Hi guys, my name is Jessica. I run a YouTube channel called A Big Girls Life, ABIGGRRLS Life. I'm also on Instagram, and I am Sequoia Ashe Taylor's little big sister. I've also had the BSG. I've done it this almost 4 months ago on January 27th, 2020. And so we're just going to jump on in it and get this thing started.
All right, so awesome. Listen, so you guys heard that. I had it in 2013. She had the surgery in 2020. And so between that time, a lot changed with having the surgery and like requirements and things of that nature. So I thought no better way to have two people from the same family that had the surgery at two different times of like time periods and things of that nature to have this candid chat. She saw me go through my journey. And so we will be talking about that as well. And I'll be asking her more about her journey. So like I said, in 2013, on this actual day, May 20th, I went in to have the gastric sleeve. Now, before that, I had to actually go through and have like a sleep study. I had to go and do like all these nutrition and dietitian classes. I had to meet with a nutritionist dietitian. I had to go to support groups. I had to have all these testing done, all of this type of stuff, right? I had to go do like staying overnight for a sleep study. All of that stuff that pertains to like getting the surgery done, I had to do all of that pre-work because I had a waiting period of I believe 3 months before I can even schedule to have the surgery, right? So Jessica, in your experience, can you give them a little bit more information about like, did you have to go do all that? What was your pre-surgery type of situation? What did that look like?
So mine was pretty similar. Let me just add, we have the same mother and father, not to be shady, but just to let you guys know that genetics are strong. And we have a pretty extensive genetic background from as far as health history, pretty much almost anything you could think of as far as ailments, somebody on one of those sides of the family has it. And so because of that, I had to do sleep study. Mine was a little bit more lenient. I was able to do it at home. So I just went home, they gave me the machine. I just hooked myself up. I don't think that the crowd really worked as much because it was half off the night, but they told me I passed it. I did have a 3-month waiting period, and now that is determined by your insurance. So depending on what your insurance guidelines are is how long you have to wait. I am in a lot of different bariatric groups, and some people have 6 months, some people, it just depends on what your insurance is. I had a 3-month waiting period, and I also have a history of SVTs, which is my heart beats really, really fast for no reason at all. Absolutely no reason. I can stand up, go from a normal 90 to 120. God forbid if I tried to work out, I'm at 160s, 190s. Okay. So I had to do a whole bunch of echoes. I had to do a different type of echo for the first time where they did ultrasounds and stress tests at the same time. I had an IV. They injected different types of dye to see the actual complete heart function. I did have to meet with nutritionists, but I only saw her twice, like the first initial appointment process and then right before surgery. And then I saw a psychologist once just to make sure that I was a candidate for surgery, and she just basically gave me a survey about my feelings and why I wanted to do the surgery, and did I understand the purpose of the surgery and understood that it wasn't a quick fix. I personally believe they should do more psych evaluations because
Mhm.
post-op you kind of get dropped off the boat, but we'll get to that point.
I wholeheartedly agree. And like she said, she's not being shady with we have the same mom and dad. She's giving you the prelude because for me, the reason why I made the final decision to do the sleeve is because I actually was diagnosed with being pre-diabetic, right? And so when they told me that pre-diabetic, I was like, oh no, our family members have all this other stuff going on. I'm not about to do this whole sticking, pricking, all that kind of stuff. So I was like, no, and so that was the conversation that we were having. I had Autumn at the time. I had not had Aria. And so for me, it was that whole concept of getting healthier, and I felt like I had tried everything, and so doing that as well. So that was my precursor versus her was the having the heart things, which she's had since she's been in high school. Versus me, I didn't have that. I had anemia in high school, so those are the type of things like letting genetically we are like as similar as we're going to be besides being twins, right? We have the same identical mother and father. So even in families, they could that the medical background could be different, and different things can cause or stir you to have that actual procedure. I agree with you 100% on the psychological piece. I will say that the number one thing for me versus when I was doing it in 2013, everyone was doing it. Like everyone in the house, I worked in the hospital, labor and delivery. And so everybody was doing it, right? It was the thing to do. Like, don't do bypass. Now it's this quicker thing to do that you don't have to do all this surgery. Just cut the bottom part of your stomach off. So let's get that disclaimer. With the gastric sleeve, what they do is, I should have brought a banana. They actually remove the lower part of your stomach so that it goes into like the shape. It looks like the size of a banana by the time it's done, right? So they remove the bottom part off, which means that you're not able to hold as much food. And for that reason alone, I believe that's why we should have more of the psychological. Like, yes, you need a nutrition, your dietitian, but your mindset. Number one thing that I will say that for me, and even talking to other people who have had the sleeve, is the mindset. You heard her say that once you have the surgery, you pretty much get dumped off the boat. It's like, yes, you're in the support group, but everybody in the support group is in it with you, right? So the people that haven't had the surgery or not currently in that part with you, they're not experiencing what you're experiencing. Yo, I want some chicken and I want this, or I want some, a hot dog, or I want to eat more than like 3 spoonfuls or something without feeling full, right? So they're not going through that psychological piece with you. And so, yes, when you go into the support groups, they're like, yeah, hurrah, hurrah, that's only going to last for so long. And you're like, okay, shut up, because I'm going through it right now. You get that feeling. So it's very hard. It's very hard on your mental. And that's why for me, we can start talk about pros and cons now. One of the cons is that if you are not a person that is strong-willed in your mind, like if you don't decide to make that decision to change your mindset, A, because you have to change the way you're eating, and B, because you will revert back to the way that you were doing it before. If you're not strong enough and make that resolve, this wouldn't be a process for you, because you will fall off. You will go through those phases of like, okay, well, I wanted some just simple green beans, but I can only eat probably like a fourth of a cup of green beans when I could probably eat a whole pan before, right? So just that whole concept of changing your mindset, it is more mental than anything. Period. That's what I would say. It's more mental. So what would be your viewpoint on that, since you are more recently having the surgery?
I agree. Another point I forgot to say, like my highest weight was 289. I think I went to doctor once and it was like 292, but I'm accepting 289. Currently, I'm like 211. And so it's mentally, you have to be a stubborn person. Pre-op stages, they tell you you have to do this, 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 and this, and you want it. So you want it to be done. So you're going to do exactly what they tell you to do. And if you cheat, there's no consequence. If you eat go to Olive Garden tomorrow and your surgery is next week is no real consequence because you still have time to get that out your system before surgery. Once you actually have the surgery, is no, you can't do that. And it's a mental game. So people like my dear sister here who are stubborn in her mind, I watched her. She went from doing whatever she wanted to do, and then she had surgery and it clicked. It's like she just turned the switch on. And from that point on, she stopped. She wasn't eating a hamburger. She wasn't eating it. It was a switch in her mind. So me going into it, I've had, like she said, back in 2013, I used to work at UF Health back in Jacksonville before moving to Alaska. Everybody was doing it. It was buy one, get one free during there. You get a surgery, you get a surgery. Are you getting bypass? No, I'm getting sleeve, or I'm doing bypass. I'm doing lap band. And then you like watch this. It was so casual. So fast forward to when I actually decided to do it. I thought I was going to be okay. I'm like, yeah, I can do this. My sister did it. My aunt did it. A whole bunch of my friends did it. I'm fine, And then as soon as surgery happened, I felt fine. It was almost a false hope because surgery happened. People had talked about gas pain and this pain. I felt fine. I was walking the hospital, walking people downstairs. I got home, and a couple of days later, the pain hit. But I was like, I had surgery. Of course, I'm going to have pain. I got pain medicine. It wasn't a big deal. The big issue was mentally because you're home. I'm a single parent. I was cooking for my kids. The TV is on. You see all kind of commercials come on TV. Everyone else on Facebook, and everyone else is eating around you. Food is a big part of life. Everyone is eating. They want to go out of town. They want to do this. And you're just stuck basically in the bed drinking protein shakes and water. And sadly, you can't even tug your water anymore. It's all sip, sip, sip. And that concept alone, like prior to surgery, I practiced, sipping water. I practiced eating my food, waiting 30 minutes and drinking some drink. That's the rules. You have to eat 30 minutes, drink. I practiced this pre-op. But again, if I didn't fulfill it, it was no consequence. Now, if I don't fulfill it, I'm sick. So that was a big issue of it, is the mental stability. I don't feel like I was really prepped for that. I felt like they talked to me and gave me like the rundown, but no one like said like, you are going to be in your room crying because you're going to be mentally hungry. Yes, your body, your stomach is not hungry. You don't feel like you need to eat. You don't feel hungry, but mentally you want to eat. And that mental hunger is worse than the physical hunger, because physically I'm full, I'm done. But it's been times where pre-surgical days I've been full and said, "Ooh, girl, look at that cake. Oh, I need me something sweet." And you still eat, even though you're full. But post-op, you can't do that. And if you do, you got some consequences. So
yeah. So most people were like, well, your sister had a surgery, you can ask her. It was totally different for me. I will say that, like, I was a person, like I've shared with you guys before, that I did not eat enough food, right? And I've learned since then, we're gonna get into this journey and stuff like that. But I have learned since then that I'm a closed digestive system, so I can eat the same thing. So for me, getting up drinking a shake every day, all day, it didn't bother me. I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll just get this shake. That shake gonna last me for breakfast and lunch. I'm gonna sip on it for 2 hours. Okay, I can only have this much of applesauce. I can only have this much of mashed potatoes. Then I can go into some mashed up like soft green beans. Once they told me the process, and because I'm the true both, and it's funny because both of us are Aries, right? But I'm the true Aries, true, right? So for me, it wasn't. Once I was concrete, it was no black. It was only black or white for me. There was no gray. It was no. I'm gonna get hungry for some mashed potatoes when I'm on. I should still be on applesauce. It was like, okay, well, I'll get to that eventually. Right. So for me, it was totally different. I can eat the same thing every day, as you guys see on my page. I can eat the same thing every day, and it doesn't bother me because I now know that what I do is that I eat to live. I don't live to eat.
let's do a time out here. Growing up, this one didn't like to cook, okay? This one, he would make eggs, and that was it. And I was the one who used to beg, please, Mom, let me learn how to cook. I was begging. I remember being 5, 6 years old, begging to learn how to cook. So for me, I like to cook. I don't need any more. I don't really care. But then I did. So going to the surgery, I like to cook, I go to a church where we are small and we're a family and we like to eat, So I'm cooking for people things that I can't eat. I can barely taste it, I remember being desperate, and we had a big, thing at church, and Pastor made meatballs. And I remember bringing the meatball home and chewing it and spitting it out in the trash, like just chewing it because I wanted that flavor. It wasn't about just the food and the nutrition. I wanted to taste the food. Like, girl, y'all got meatballs up here and I can't get a meatball. I'm gonna take this meatball home. I'm gonna chew this up and then spit it in trash. And then you're so crazy because I freaked out. I chewed it up and I was like, oh, this is the best meatball ever. But then you freaking out because you're like, don't swallow it. Because at this point, I'm like, what, 2 weeks post-op, I think? Don't swallow, don't swallow. So I'm trying to like, make sure not one piece of little ground up ground beef or ground turkey gets in my throat, so you freak out and then you stop and you think to yourself, is it worth it? Because at this point, with the sleeve, they cut the piece of your stomach out, but they use these certain type of staples. So your body still has staples that's on the inside healing. So what happens if a piece of meat gets caught on that and you have infection or rips open your piece of your stomach and now you're looking at death because I wanted a meatball? So I like to cook. Well, I used to. I haven't really been doing it much, but I like to cook. I like to try new things. I like to bake. I like to make cakes and cookies and pies. If I don't do it right today, I can do it again tomorrow, and I try a different recipe. I like sweets. I like Oreos and milk and Chips Ahoy and milk. I can go in the store and just have I did it yesterday. I went to the store and I saw some Chips Ahoy and milk and I was like, gosh, I remember that feeling of being able to just eat them. But now, I haven't had one in a while. I'm clean, but it's like a drug. Sugar, yeah. These foods in the store are so processed, full of sugar and carbs. It's a drug to your body. And I'm not being cliche to say that, but when I walk in the store and see it and I feel a rush go through my body and I want a cookie and milk, that's a problem. I haven't had cookies and milk in a while, months, but I want it and I feel it. It's almost like I never did, real hard drugs before, but I'm guessing it's that same feeling they get when you shaking and you want your next hit. I want that cookie and milk. So as not only are you changing it, what you're allowed to put in your body, it's a lot of mental stuff that goes into this. It's not easy at all.
Right. And so I definitely agree with that you realize that the food that you're putting in your body is like a drug. Like, so she's right. I was never the person that was a cooker. They were doing easy bake. I was doing typewriter. I was always that person for me, like a business person. I wasn't worried about cooking this. I was like, I have someone to cook for me, or I got these foods over here. I got them cooking. I think Jasmine is on the line, our other cousins, stuff like that on the line. So listen, we would have them. I was like, y'all bake the stuff, I'll eat it, but I'm not going to be focused on that. So just even with the different personality types, having those similar struggles kind of gives you that mindset or giving you guys a view that it is that piece. Now, the kicker is whether you have the sleeve or not, these same issue comes up. What the sleeve, so now we're talking about pros and cons and post that surgery. Me, I never lived by the scale. So they will come up like Janelle Simple and a couple other people come up. They're like, well, hey, Sequoia, how much weight you lost? And I'm like, I don't know. I would never get on the scale, right? Post-op, you're supposed to go to your doctor a whole bunch of times. I think I maybe went twice. Like Janelle Parker quote me by my file. I think I may have went twice. I never stuck to that process of going because I was like, I had it in my mind that I was going to do this. It switched to me. And then I wasn't living by that. But I do think that helped me because of my personality, not to be the person that's like, oh, I lost 2 pounds. Because listen, just because you have the sleeve does not mean the weight gonna fall off the next day. And see, that's what I tell them. Like, for me, it was almost instantaneous, but then it was over time. I didn't know I was losing weight until they would come grab my clothes and be like, okay, don't wear this no more. Like, or I would go into the OR and then my pants would be about to fall down. They're like, okay, you wearing a large or extra large, you need to go down. Like, stop wearing those pants or stop wearing that shirt. People had to tell me from the outside that I was getting smaller. That's how I knew the inches on my body were like, oh, okay, even now I have the struggle of, so now we're talking about that journey. Continuing on the journey, it becomes and I've told her this 100 times, it becomes a wellness lifestyle. The only way that we end this journey at this point is that we have somebody to put us 6 feet under, right? Because if you don't, then you will continue to have those struggles. Even now, today, 7 years later, I look in the mirror and see that big person. Mm-hmm. I can look in the mirror and they're like, okay, like even when I'm working out, they're like, Sequoia, why are you working? Like, what's going on? Why you didn't want to wear those type of shorts or shirts? And we're talking about this, with my coaches and stuff, and they're like, you're not big. I'm like, yeah, I am. You see these arms? You see this? They're like, okay, maybe and so I've had to do the coaching. I've had to do the life work with that to say, go ask your sister, please. To do the life work to say, to do the life work to change that mental piece. So the whole premise that I would tell people that if you're not ready to do that mental work, you're not ready to eat the sleeve, you're not ready to lose weight, you're not ready to focus on your nutrition, You're not focused, ready to do any of that, because at the end of the day, I still see the big person. So I do things
Mm-hmm.
to extreme. I had to tell people, had 2 or 3 people this week telling me, hey, you need to slow down at working out. You're not that big. Like if you're toning and working out, you're doing team too much too quickly, right? So I have to take heed to that, because I will go to the excessive, and because I still see that same person. So in that regard, how are you doing right now as far as your weight loss? How do you feel? Like, are you on track with your goal? Is it a personal goal? Are you going by what the doctor said? Like, how are you actually taking your transition post surgery now?
It's hard in that aspect. So prior to surgery, I ended up doing keto and I dropped like 30 pounds, right? Then I felt like I saw the weight loss. I knew I was basically starving yourself eating certain things on keto, but then I realized once I let the image go, like, oh yeah, I lost the weight, I got comfortable and I started gaining back. So that's when I had the surgery, because not only was I gaining back, but my health was declining. I was diabetic. I had a lot of other stuff going on. So post-op, like kind of similar to you, I don't see weight loss. I still see Jessica pushing 300 pounds all the time, So I would go to work and people would say, oh, you losing weight. I'm not losing weight. Y'all just, whatever. And I kept on going until I put on clothes one day and it was all this sagging. I'm like, I guess I am like losing weight. It didn't hit me until like you look down and you're like, oh, I look like I got a penis. Like just all your clothes is hanging down. So I realized then, but then I just stopped wearing those clothes. I didn't get rid of the clothes. I still got them in there. But
Mhm.
I started wearing different clothes. And so I go into the mirror, I still see big Jessica. I'm still big. I got a lot more to go. And initially going into the surgery, like I said, I was like 282 is my, that's gonna be 284, 289. 289 is my highest weight, that we gonna claim. We ain't claiming them 290s. But I look at that and I still see the same person. It's hard to reshape. I may see my face getting smaller. Like sometimes I look in the mirror and I see your face and I'm like, oh girl, you looking like your sister. But and it'll catch me off guard. But then 10 minutes later, I can look in the face and I feel like all this is fat. I was always had a fat face, so I'm used to that part. But it's just like sometimes I feel big again, or I make certain comments to my boyfriend. He gets pissed because he's like, stop saying that, like you fine. But I don't see it. So initially I was like, oh, you know what, girl, I get down to 215. They can't tell me nothing. Let me get to 225. I'm be sexy. I'm be fine. And I hit those weights and it just felt like I want more. Like now I'm 211. Oh, when am I going to get down to 199? My doctor was like 160. And I remember telling him like, child, I'm from Florida. I ain't getting no 160. I want to keep my butt. Like I can't lose my butt. Like that was my whole conversation. And one of my providers is from Jacksonville, Florida. And so he was like, Miss Jeffrey, I know how it is being living in Jacksonville, but your butt gonna be the first thing to go. So I remember
True.
having a conversation with him, and it is very true. Okay, I went from
Very
boom, boom,
true.
boom, boom to boom. I remember having a conversation with him, and I'm like, Tim, I'm not going to 150, 160. Like, child, I'm sexy. Let me get a 200. And now that I'm at 211, when am I going to get 199? When am I going to get to 180? Okay, I could stop at 180. And I have a feeling once I get to 180, I'm probably not going to stop because, like you said, you still see that big person. Um, right now, like I was doing like small workouts. I had to stop because I had some issues this week with my health last 2 weeks. But I felt like, okay, if I do the toning up part and if I keep working out and eat properly, I can be okay. But until you change up here and realize that I guess, I don't know. I had got to a point in my life where I was happy being big or small. I wanted to be smaller for health, not for looks, because I was fine regardless. Now I'm just getting super sexy. Okay. So I don't know. It's hard. It's a difficult process. Why I think that maybe some more psych doctor visits would have been beneficiary to let them know that, hey, you are going to have body image issues. Like, I think
Right.
I'm fine regardless. I
Right.
don't think I look bad. I just think that I'm big. I'm still big. And I think that that's something that should be addressed in the bariatric community. Even if you're doing diet and exercise and you're losing weight, you still have to do the work to realize that if you do surgery, diet, exercise, starvation, whatever you do to make yourself lose weight, if you're not happy with who you are in the mirror, you're never going to be happy. It's going to be an ongoing circle.
Right. Because that's the same thing that happened with people who have like a anorexia or bulimia. They see themselves as big too, and you like, okay, you're literally like a bone. Like you see some people that you're like, okay, why don't they see that? So it makes you have more compassion, understanding, because I understand that cycle a little bit more. But I will say that me over the journey, like diving into that now, being like the wellness practitioner, and people think I'm crazy, like, why are you going to do this? including that, and me being like the science geek that says, hey, I want to do the detective work and find out who you are. That to me has helped me. And then now, like, people are like, no, everybody y'all know that's working out. I can't even say the E word. Y'all know I like exercise. My wellness workouts, because exercise is not my jug. Like, that was the thing I hated, right? But I will say that, and that's why I've been kind of getting on her about, because as you're losing the weight, if you do not exercise in tone with that, it's like skin on top of skin, especially if you are that type of person, right? So if you're losing weight and you're looking in the mirror not thinking you're losing weight, then you're losing weight, and then it's like, okay, but you didn't tone up and firm that up. So for me, if you're gonna do any type of thing, whether it's the sleeve or the bypass, if you're going to do lap band, if you're going to start saying I'm going to eat healthy and I'm going to work out, you have to do those things and make them work together. When I say be healthy, happy, and gain harmony, harmony is that sense of balance, right? Because if you're eating okay, but you're not working out, you're going to see what happens. If you're working out heavily and you're not eating properly, you're going to see what happens. So it doesn't matter of any of these things what you're doing. It's all like the whole, I guess the principle of it is the mental, but you have to use those things, and then you have to start getting together where it's going to be balanced. I'm going to have to start working this out together. I'm going to have to start focusing on my food. Because even with the sleeve, okay, eat bad and see what happens. I know people who lost maybe 50 or 60 pounds, and then they didn't lose any more weight. Or they lost 100 and something pounds, and if you see them now, you wouldn't know they had the sleeve. So it is like, oh yeah, that's the easy route that most people want to tell us. You know, I hate hearing that. Like, oh, it's the easy route. It's the quicker route, but it's not an easier route, right? And that's the myth that I would like to dispel.
Mhm.
Like, dispel that on my anniversary date. It is not the easiest way. It is a quicker way to do it, right? Because it's gonna make you do those things. It's gonna make you do portion control. Because if you eat something that's not supposed to do, guess where you're gonna be at? On somebody's over a toilet or over a
Right.
sink
I was about to say,
or hurting, because it will come
let,
up because it has nothing else. It has nowhere to go. Talk about heartburn and ulcers and stuff. Like, the rest of that stuff, you have to pay attention to. It will make you do that switch, right? For the people who can't make that switch on their own to be consistent, right? So it's not an easier way. It's just a quicker way to do it. And so with that saying,
yeah.
we'll go into pros and cons. Some of the pros for me is that I gained a life, right? I gained this new person. I learned so much. It put me on track to do what I'm doing now as a whole career, right? Like, I'm on track to go and being a board certified wellness practitioner. Like, who does that? It
Mhm.
put me on track to learn what my life mission was and purpose and calling, right? And so I don't ever negate that. But it's not the whole puzzle for me. It's a piece of that puzzle, right? And so another pro is that it gave me my life back in that form of knowing that I am capable of sticking with something. I'm capable of, continue to learn and continue to, like, this is a journey and those type of things, right? I was able to lose over 110 pounds and maintain it, right? And so I'm now able to be the example for other people, because even like I said, people have had the surgery and they have gained the weight back. Both of us have seen this. We can call people out. We should have them come on and show you they have done those different surgeries and have gained their weight back. Some of the cons that I will say is that it cost me my whole life. The way when I decided to make that, and when she said it made that switch, it cost me. And I tell you guys all the time in my lives, it cost me my whole life. So almost as much as the mindset, it cost me something. It's gonna cost you something. You're gonna give it up. It cost me for the longest time. They would still be eating whatever they wanted to, and I'd be like, "Oh no, she don't eat that. She eat rabbit food. She eat kale chips. She eat spinach chips. She like a rabbit. She every 2-3 hours she putting something in her mouth." Or I would go to Georgia and everybody's eating all kind of food. And I'm like, can't really have that. Can't really have this. I'm gonna go here and get that. I can't have that. It cost me my whole life. It cost me my way of thinking. It cost me my way of being, right? So that's that's one of the cons, but it's also a pro, I guess, in a way, because the life that I have now is so much better. Another one of the cons is, like we said, the mental stuff. If you don't have your mental capacity in your support system, then that's a con to the surgery. Like, another con is if you're just gonna do this because you think it's quick and you think it's easy, then that's a con. Because if you do that, then you're gonna be like, okay, watch 2 years from now. Within 2 years of me having the surgery, I was pregnant and had a baby and still maintain weight loss. So life still will continue to happen, right? Like, oh Lord, you got pregnant a year after surgery. I was like, that wasn't me. But the whole concept of that, right? And it's teaching your kids and doing that kind of stuff. So they're like, it's fluid. For me, the pros and cons are fluid, because I could look at something that somebody would say a con, and I'm like, a con could be that I had to buy new clothes. A pro could be that I get to go shopping, right? So it's all fluid. It is all about making that decision that's going to be best for you. and the best for you, and making sure that you have the proper things. So the main thing that I would want to bring awareness is making sure you have that mental support and that you have a support system around you of people who are going to be understanding. But if they don't, you have to be made up in your mind that you're going to change it. You're going to stick to it. So what are some of the pros and cons that you feel like right now for you?
The pro would be that I have like I remember day 4 I cried, and then I looked and I said, you know what? It's too late now. I mean, I don't know who's online, excuse my French. I'm the wild one, but you either should have got the toilet. You know what I'm saying? Like at this point, it's too late to cry about it. Get up and get, do what you need to do. So it did kind of force me to be more real about stuff that's happening. I was not happy being that big. I have a 4 and a 10-year-old, almost 5 and 11. One's playing volleyball, one playing basketball. I don't want to be that mom who, all right, kids, let's go play. Like, I want to be outside with my kids. I bought a house. I'm outside in the garden every day. I'm planting and pulling grass and pulling weeds. I mean, we're like completely pulling grass out of spots and doing different things. This is my house. I'm paying the bills. I want to be able to go outside and do it. I don't want to have to wait and I want to do stuff and enjoy life. Growing up, I was always the real skinny one. I got picked on all the time for being skinny. I was called anorexic. I was called bulimic. It was horrible being so small. And so I went from being really, really small to really, really big. And so now I'm at the point now where I know how I look small. It's not going to, it's not a difference to me. I've seen that person before, but I'm looking at it now. When I was younger, I took it for granted. I want to be healthier. I want to live, I want to be able to be with my children. I want to leave a legacy. I don't want to just be that mom sitting in the car or sitting on the sidelines. If you're out there playing volleyball, I'm going out there with you. Let's practice. I want to be that mom. I want to be active in my kids' life. I want to be active. I switched over now. I'm working in clinic style versus working in a hospital. So now I have more work-life balance, allegedly. I want to be able to spend that extra time. Sorry, y'all. I want to be able to spend the extra time and actually be with my family, not just, watching life. I want to be a part of it. That would be the biggest pro, is that I want to get my life back. The biggest cons is that everything is revolved around food in life. People cook. Part of me feels guilty because someone cooked for me and I'm like, oh, I got to at least taste it. I shouldn't be eating fajitas, but I'm going to taste it because they just made me fajitas, And then people looking at it like, oh, but I got you like carb-free, da-da-da-da fajitas, but not looking at it like that's still bread. I shouldn't be eating that. They're looking like, oh, but I bought you healthier stuff. People, they don't understand it if it's not their journey. If they've never been big, they don't get it. So while they're looking at it like, oh, I bought the healthier options, I know that that's really not really healthy and I shouldn't be eating it. So you take 1 or 2 bites and then we talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, you get dumping syndrome. And dumping syndrome doesn't always happen immediately. Immediate post-op it does. When you first have surgery, you eat something with a little bit too many carbs, you immediately go to the bathroom and you die. Now that I'm like 4 months, it does not happen immediately. Sometimes it happens 2 days later where I've ate carbs, and then a couple of days later, just boom. And that's another thing. When you're doing these procedures, bathroom life is not the same anymore. It's you either dying to the left or you're dying to the right. It's either all or nothing. So you got to kind of eat the right stuff to kind of bring a balance to your body, because pooping is healthy. We need that kind of stuff. And so it's taught me a lot of things about myself. I don't have as much willpower as you have with that on-off switch. I'm the person that's going to try it. And if I don't die, I'm going to try a little bit more, and I'm going to try a little bit more. Then I die and I won't do it again. And, so I may eat air chip, those little puffable chips. Oh, I didn't die today, so I can eat these every day now, and then wondering why I didn't lose any weight. So I have to catch myself, because I can easily become that person to regain. Because now I'm at a point where I'm stalling because I've been having some health issues. So protein intake, protein, water is very, very, very heavy with weight loss surgery. If you're trying to lose weight, period, it's very, 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 very important. You can go to my YouTube channel. I got a whole video about protein shakes and water and hydrating, tips. So go check that out. Big Girl's Life. I'm also happy. Let's just be real about it. Let's get all the way real. Another pro, girl, who all on this live? Because I don't want to, what I'm saying, I don't want to,
Oh, okay. Well, hold on real quick, because we get into the deal, but because somebody they asked the question, right? So listen, there are 3 main weight loss surgeries that people know about. So the lap band is where they put a band around, like right above the more medical. they put a band around and they can inflate it or make it loose or inflate it. You have to keep going back and they put a port and you get it inflated. And that allows more food to go in or less food to go in, right? So that's a band. The lap band can be removed, right? Then the middle one would probably be the sleeve. The sleeve is if your stomach is like this, they go and cut this much off, like make it more, it's like a banana sometimes when they get finished. That's what the example they give you, right? They cut the bottom portion of your stomach and that allows you to aid because that you don't realize your stomach is what tells your brain to full, stop, to send that signal. And if your stomach is stressed out, that signal doesn't go to your brain as fast, right? So it helps with that, but it also forces you to do portion control, right? So that's the gastric sleeve. I'm doing this in a nutshell. There are more details to this, right? And then the gastric bypass is where they take your a part of your they take it from the softest part right above that from the stomach and bypass it completely. Like they bypass it so you don't have that whole part of your stomach. It's just there. It's like, okay, what you gonna do with it? They bypass it completely so that you don't even have so the amount of food that you can eat with that is even smaller because they bypass it completely, right? And so like with us, when we had the gastric sleeve, yes, we have to go be put under as a 24-hour like in a hospital stay unless something happens. It's laparoscopic, so I have 3 cuts. I have 4 actually because I had a hernia repair done when I had my gastric sleeve. So there were 4 pieces that they did, and they're like this big. So they did the surgery that way, and then when most of them they do it that way too. Most of those surgeries now are done laparoscopic unless you've had some health reason or something happens in the middle of the surgery and they have to cut you open. They tell you that before, right? But for the most part, on average, it's done with little slits. So that is the premise. So there are 3 main surgeries. Now they have many ones off of that. They'll do 2 of them connected. They'll do this. They'll do whipples and all this kind of stuff, all that with it. But those are the 3 main ones that's in simple form without going into detail. Like if you want to know more detail and you know what made me make the decision, because I was like, I didn't want to do a complete bypass, but that's even more of a major surgery. And I didn't want the lap band because you have to go back in and let them tighten it up, or if it's too much, they have to loosen it up. And I was like, that's giving me still too much control, right? So with me, I said the gastric sleeve because if they cut the bottom part off your stomach, that's a muscle. So even now, 7 years later, I'm sure my stomach has doubled in size. It stretches and loosens up over time because it's a muscle. It stretches, but I can guarantee you it hasn't went back to that full size because I still to this day can't eat certain things like in massive amounts. I still have to nibble and eat stuff every 2-3 hours. So those are the major so some Miss Shana said that she had the band, then she had the sleeve, right? So that's the reason why, because some people will have one surgery and then they'll go do the other one because of the results. And so like for me, I was like, this is a one hit quitter for me. I'm not doing all that. So I decided to do the gastric sleeve versus the band because I didn't want to have to keep going back with that port either. I was like, okay, every time you go in, you can stick with a needle and draw it back and open it up and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, the good, bad, and ugly of that is that if you do that and if it's too tight, you gonna throw up if you even water. Like I know people who had the band and they have water, drink water and throw it up because it was too tight. It wouldn't allow any food to go through, right? So if water can't go through, nothing was going through there. So I didn't even want to keep playing with that, how much to add, how much to take away. I was like, okay, let me do something that's gonna make me do it. And then once I've clicked that, then I'm good on that end. And I know what reason why we'll cut her with that whole being honest about this pro and con thing, but that's for the person who asks about what's the major differences between the 3. Those are the major differences.
And most doctors today are not even recommending that you do the lap band. That wasn't even a choice for me. I feel in today's society they're trying to push more of the bypass. I feel like everything has life and everything has a reason, whether tree, plant, organs in your body. So for me to even decide to do the sleeve and lose part of one of my vital organs was very hard. I was not going to do the bypass. I did not want, that was a lot for me. Some people, depending on your height, your weight, your BMI, if you're someone who needs to lose excessive amount of weight and you really need it, then do the bypass, do what's best for you. You can lose more weight faster. Me, I want to do the sleeve. I want well-controlled weight loss. Bypass was a little too quick. I didn't want to be all flabby and loose, which is a risk with any of them. So I didn't go that route because for my height, my weight, I felt like I can do this with the sleeve. Like I said, people were having problems with the lap bands. It was like, because it's on your stomach, once they put it on there, they're not checking every couple of weeks to see what's going on. It's on there. It could be killing off stomach cells, killing off muscle. There was a lot of people having complications. And so pretty much, unless you demand it, most surgeons are not recommending that. They're really pushing the bypass. The sleeve to me, I felt like was more safer because if I felt like, hey, if it was a big enough issue, I could stretch this stomach right back out the way it was, to be honest, that's the way I felt about it. I was like, I'll give it a try. I know people who have stretched their stomach back out, before it was, so I felt like if that was a big issue, it's a muscle, I would try that because it seemed more safer to me. My surgeon did tell me that they made my sleeve really, really tight. So I'm surprised that I haven't lost more weight. So they go in there and like she said, your stomach, and they just like, let's say this is your stomach. They just cut right on down, bam. So it goes in through your esophagus, to your stomach, and right out through your intestines. This whole part here is gone, and so they just take it on out. And I've seen the surgery done. I used to be a surgical tech in my former life. I've seen the surgery done. It doesn't take long. They pull the piece of stomach out and throw it on your Mayo stand and just shrivels on up. You'll be amazed at how this stuff looks. But I've seen the bypass. To me, as a surgical tech, watching someone get the bypass, that wasn't cool for me to watch that wasn't cool for me. So that's why I chose the sleeve, and that's why I wouldn't recommend no one get the lap band, because it's not really effective. A lot of complications.
Right. Someone, I think when Miss Shannon said that hers rolled it and they put a hole in her stomach. So all of this, we're being very careful about giving a disclaimer that we're not speaking medical advice. That was an actual person saying that was their experience. And we're talking from our actual experience, right? But both of us have been in the health field. Both of us have been in surgical tech school, been surg tech, we're nurses, have went to school with nurses. She's actually practicing as a nurse. I'm a certified wellness practitioner. So we're speaking from working in the hospital and seeing these things done, but not giving you medical advice. So if someone says, hey, I want to go do a lap band, hey, look, just make sure you're ready mentally for all of that, right? So she was getting ready to go into a pro. And I know first of all, let me say, when I was big, I hurt myself when I was in the military. And when I was in the military, I hurt my knee. That's the reason why I got out, right? So as you're bigger, now let's get a disclaimer that big girls, we're BBWs and men like BBWs and all. So we're not knocking anybody being bigger. We're talking from our personal experience, why we decided to do the sleeve and what has happened to us before, good and bad, the good and bad, ugly, and what happened to us, right? So for me personally, me working out even now personally helps with flexibility. I'm just leaving it at that. Helps with flexibility, helps with agility, helps with mobility.
All that, girl.
All that. Yeah. All of that, right? So you're able to, I believe I was able to be more flexible, period. But I do know that with less weight. Now the bad thing about that is in the wintertime, even though I live in Florida, that cold hits your bones different, right? Because you got this stuff on your body. But overall, for me, my ability to move, to jab, to do those type of things are highly increased by being
trying to keep it clean. She's trying to keep it clean. From a medical standpoint, like I said, now if I was big my whole life, that's one thing. But I had been small my whole life, and then it got bigger as I got older, right? So after like baby one, I got bigger, and then next, you can't blame the baby fat no more. I just got big and big and bigger. So with that, you also, especially as females, males too, you have hormones in your body. Your body is very complex. Depending on like if obesity, like people who have PCOS, a lot of estrogen, like you have a lot of different things going on with your hormone levels. That's why if you are a female, especially of childbearing age, you should be going and get your annuals done by your GYN doctor. You need to be having those labs checked out. Get your CBCs done. Get your labs done. How much estrogen? How much testosterone? If you're a man and your testosterone levels are low, then it won't get up. And if you're a female and your levels are out of whack, your stamina is decreased as well. You may have, you're not gonna say you're not gonna have it, but you may have sex, but your drive decreases a lot, especially if you're not healthy. Those drives are low. I haven't met too many people who are unhealthy and just like, oh yeah, I love to have sex. You may like to have sex because it's sex, but how much enjoyment would you get from sex if you're healthy? Because I know losing weight now, I'm not back to where I was when I was in my prime, but hell, I'm still in my prime. But I noticed a big difference, not only flexibility and strength, but I'm like, girl, did you just do this? You go, yeah, girl. Yeah, you doing it, girl. I'm just saying. I must be doing something right. It ain't been too long and I'm already getting I love you. So I'm just saying, hey, I feel a lot better. Sometimes I surprise myself, or sometimes I move a leg somewhere. Girl, did you just move that leg back there? Girl, did you just? I had to stop myself one day. I literally stopped and was like, oh, my bad, keep going. But I was shocked. What, girl? Work this thing. you know, and like I said earlier, I've been having health issues last couple weeks. I've been having extreme like muscle fatigue and a lot of other issues and weakness. And I thought that that's what it was at first. I didn't go to the doctor. I didn't call the doctor. I was like, girl, you've been back on it, man. Now look at you. You're hurting your muscles and everything. You can't move. And so I ignored it for a couple of days and found out it was actually a medical issue. But I'm just saying, you know, I mean, let me get my stretcher on. What's today? Wednesday, Tuesday? I don't know. I mean, hey, as long as you keep your body stretched, do your Pilates, do your yoga, it come back like a crack.
Come
I'm
on
just
with us
saying.
for the MMA. So that's a number one. When she's talking about the hormones and stuff like that's why what we do it. I said, well, it's like not getting. This is not even a shameless plug. This is the plug. That's why we do lab tests. That's why I incorporated that into that because a lot of women will say, hey, I have chronic fatigue. Or I have this, or I have that, and I have an extra 15, 20 pounds. Or hey, I'm trying to lose the last 15, 20 pounds. I can't lose them. A lot of that is based off your hormones. And most people think it's a thyroid. It's not. It's your gut. It's the adrenals. It's all these other things that are happening in between that causes that. So that's why we started to incorporate the testing piece where we say, hey, we distress the mess, meals, exercise, sleep management, stress management, and then we test and not guess. Because a lot of times, a lot of stuff that you're doing, the doctor's looking at it, you know, they're looking at tests. Oh, they're in normal range because that's what it says on the test results. It tells them on the test results that. But you may say, I know my body, something is not right. Right. So that's why we incorporate the testing piece because she's right. It's so many different things that are hormone levels that will deal with your weight. Right. And so to me, it helped a lot. Hence, I got pregnant a year after I had the freaking sleeve and went on to have a 9-month pregnancy and still didn't gain a whole bunch of that, like didn't gain any weight during my pregnancy like that. And I actually lost weight during my pregnancy because I was sick, you know, but the whole point of that was that Aria, that was bossy. But the whole, but maintaining that type of stuff like that and things of that nature. So the whole premise of this is for me, I wanted to come on a day of the 7th year because I had gotten into that rut of not necessarily talking about this as much. And I see, like, based off your comments and stuff like that, that is very much a conversation that needs to be had because it wasn't that I was ashamed that I had to sleeve. I tell people, like people who know me, you know I lost weight. You thought I either had a ninja, was on crack, or you knew I had surgery, right? You were thinking that. So it wasn't that, but I hadn't been as vocal with it, right? And so I'm learning now that those are the type of things. The myth that I want to dispel is that this is not the easiest way. It is a quicker way. It's not the easier way, right? And that the surgery is not for everyone. That is like everybody say, oh, everybody gonna have the surgery. Everybody gonna do it. That's a myth. Everybody should not have the surgery, right? For me, I had tried. I would lose 15. I would gain 15. I would lose 12. I would gain 16. I was yo-yo, and that was more dangerous. And so when they told me that I was pre-diabetic, I was like, oh no. Remember that surgery I was talking about doing that? Now let's have that conversation. I hit a point where I said I need to have the surgery. But could I have done it without the surgery? I'm sure I could have. I'm sure. I mean, just being honest, I'm sure I could have because now I'm maintaining my weight. I'm exercising. Now it's 7 years in. You guys are just not seeing me be committed to fitness, to exercising, right? So that lets you know that it's not all about me exercising. It's not all about me what I'm eating. I've been eating clean for 7 years, right? So it's not all about this. About your total wellness as a whole and as a general principle. But we're just sharing with you like some of the stuff that, like she said, that's like cool about the stuff. And there are some cons, like eating something. You're like, I thought I was safe. Even me being a year out, and like I think somebody told me I think it was a sausage or something like that. And I'm like, okay, I was gonna try it. I was over the toilet for like a couple hours. Like I just kept throwing up, just kept throwing up, and kept throwing up, and kept throwing up, because my system was like, what the world are you doing? And why, right? And so there are different things that happen to you from having it, and you learn. Like that's a learning lesson. I don't eat sausage. Like I'm not playing with it. Like what she said, she'll try it again. I ain't trying it again. If it happens again, I'm not doing it again. I don't care if it's 6 months later or a year later. I'm not doing it again, right? I learned my lesson. I'm not a hardhead. So, just those principles and things of that nature. So, Jessica, give us your closing thoughts. If you guys have any questions, be sure to post them. We will answer them for you. But yeah, we have been just talking about, just talk about our gastric sleeve journey and just having some fun time. So, you have anything else you want to say?
I mean, whatever you're doing, whatever method you choose to lose weight, if you don't need to lose weight, you're just doing healthy lifestyle, just remember you are an individual. It does not matter what happened to the last 10 people. If you are looking into losing like weight by using bariatric surgery, it's a million different Facebook groups out there. It's a million YouTubers, a million, Instagrammers, and don't look at them as what should be. We watch My 600-pound life. I watch that crap all the time, and you see they get surgery, and then 2 weeks later they're 100 pounds down. Don't let that be your expectations. Now, yes, if you're 700 pounds and you have a weight loss surgery, you will lose weight faster than somebody who's starting at 200 pounds. Just remember, everything is by your height, your weight, your genetics. Do not get so bent up on, especially in these Facebook groups. You post something, you can say, oh my God, I posted one day I felt sick, and only thing I could really keep down was a cracker. And instead of someone saying, hey, that happened to me before, this is what I did, oh, you ate a cracker? You're not supposed to be eating cracker. My doctor said 6 months. Did you not just see my post? Like, chill, oh, I already lost 75 pounds and I had surgery the same day you had surgery. I'm like, well, I'm only down 50 pounds. Don't let that be the determining factor, because that person may be vegan, or that person may do this, that person may do that. You may struggle to eat protein. Before surgery, I could drink protein shakes. I didn't really care. Before you do anything, get the ones that you like. I tried different varieties, different brands, different flavors to find the one that I like. So post-op, I was set. That changed, and it didn't change immediately. It just changed a couple of weeks ago, where I can't keep down protein shakes. It'd do better if I make my own protein shake versus buying one from the store. And then it got to the point where the ones I was making on my own, it was too much. So your body goes through changes regardless of what stage of the game you're in. It's not a guarantee. You do what's best for you. You make up in your mind what you want to do for yourself. Don't look at it like I need to get skinny for my partner, or I want to make that change for yourself. Not about being skinny, but be healthy. Love who you are, so that when you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, I still feel like I'm that fat girl. Well, shit, she fine too. Like, don't beat yourself up. Everybody is an individual. No one is the same unless you're an identical twin, and there's still some differences between identical twins. Okay, there's no two people on this earth that are the same. Okay, so don't beat yourself up.
Right. So, she's preaching what I say all the time. That's why we do individualized and customized care. And that's why, for me, most of the time when I'm doing testing, baseline for me is doing DNA. You're born with certain stuff. She told you that we have the same mother and father, but then some of the health reasons for her were totally different than the health reasons for me. So based off our DNA, we have certain like SNPs or the variances that cause us to be able to have certain issues. Like both of us went through periods where we were skinny, right? When I went in the military, I wasn't big. I wasn't 200 something pounds in the military. But when I came out of the military, lifestyle stuff happened, right? So even though our DNAs are similar, we have some of the same variances. The lifestyle environment, the way we're living our life, having children or whatever, that caused us to be able to have those experiences. And then we gain weight for those reasons, right? But then the reason why we want to have the sleeve was like, okay, the diabetes started popping up. You pre-diabetic, or, like for her, the heart stuff. I mean, for me, it was more like the anemia stuff. And so those things are, like she said, we're individual people, even within in the same family, right? We're basically, we're the closest that we will be besides being twins. We have the same mother and father. So when I do my DNA and it says I have a variance in like my anti-inflammatory stuff, or my lipids, or my cholesterol, high cholesterol, we have a variance. So now we know to pay attention to our cholesterol, because we knew that from birth. Now our environment can say whether it's going to act up or be calm, right? So those are the type of things that she's saying. You're individual, right? And your lifestyle, your environment, your mental health, your physical wealth, your spiritual health, all those things, all them 8 areas of wellness are the things that affect what you were born with, and that will cause changes. So you cannot judge your journey. She could not judge her journey off of me. We're two totally different people. I can't go, it's I have to catch myself, because I'm like, hey, no, don't do this, or don't do this. She's a totally different person. So I could tell her what my experience was, and then she can say, okay, well, I feel that similar way, or I don't, or I'm going to try it anyway, or I'm going to listen to her and don't, right? Because
I'm going to try it anyway.
She can try it anyway. So, but we're two different people. So that's why we get to tell this similar stories, but have totally different, like, outlooks on them, right? And so that's the principle. Whether you own this journey, this is a journey. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint, right? This is the sprint of life. This is the marathon of life. You will never finish this until you're in the ground. And so just realize that you're the only person that is on this earth that is like you. So you can't compare yourself to somebody else. If somebody else lost 100 pounds in 2 days, congratulations. It took me a year to lose 100 pounds. Not me personally. It didn't take me a year. But I'm saying, like, I will take that back. I lost probably, like, my first year, I would say I was around an 80 mark, and then I got pregnant, right? And then I started losing weight in between it. So I lost the bulk of my weight in that first year, right? But then there are some people who would kind of take them a little bit longer to kind of kickstart, or some people were bigger than me. So in 6 months, when they had lost 100 pounds, yeah, because you was 400 pounds. So that just made more sense. So I couldn't compare my journey to anybody else, right? And that's in like on this journey period. If you're working out, if you're eating healthier, if you're thinking about having a sleeve, or if you've had a weight loss surgery, you still have to do what's best for you. Don't subscribe to just because I say I'm eating kale chips every day, they're going to be beneficial to me. You may have a health issue that you can't do that, right? So don't subscribe to copying somebody. Like, use them as an example, use them as a story. Like, hey, you can take from it or don't, but you're an individual. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm gonna check real quick to see if we have any questions. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. So the Jessica, tell them how they can my audience and your audience how they can find you, and then we'll close out.
Again, I'm on YouTube and I am on Instagram. A Big Girl's Life, ABIGGIRLS Life, and it is placed in between. Go ahead and go to my YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. I talk about more than weight loss. We do some funny things with colon cleanses and vaginal steaming. You know, go ahead and like, share, subscribe so I can get rich. So I gotta go back and log on to these people's job. Y'all, come on, get together.
Y'all wonder why I have to be so serious. I have to be the serious one dealing with that one, okay? 3 years younger, y'all see what I have to deal with? Yeah, just craziness. And so it's funny when I get to do it, that people are shocked because she used to do it. So yeah, you can find me at Ashe Wellness on our Facebook page, or you can join our community, Living the Wellness Life. We are on YouTube at that name, and we are on we have an actual community up for that as well. Let's stay tuned, because like for the comments and stuff like that we're seeing, this is something that you guys want to hear from us. I'm sure we're gonna be partnering soon. We keep bypassing and doing that, about doing something for that journey, and for people on that, for the weight loss journey and things of that nature, who need to lose a significant amount of weight, because both of us had to lose over 100 and something pounds. We were and within reason, without like, okay, I'm going to go on crack, right? So we both had to make those options without saying that we was going to do that. So for people who are having to lose like a bulk amount of weight, we will be partnering to do different things, and be able to talk them through and coach them through that as well. Like I said, she has a nursing degree and going back soon to be finishing up the rest of this, but we're not going. That's a whole nother live.
Oh, I'm already.
And then I went to nursing school and said that wasn't my passion. I'm not doing that. So I'm on track to take my wellness certification to the next level by becoming board certified, right? So we are on track to doing those things. We're doing our callers, like she said. Check out her YouTube, because she does talk about crazy stuff like Yoni themes and all the kind of things and all that. And she get real deep with y'all. So yeah, go check out her on YouTube, and then we will stay connected with you guys. Thank you guys so much for coming and tuning into my 7th year anniversary. Thank you guys so much. I'm super excited, because 7 years down, a lifetime to go. Looking forward to talking to you guys soon, and you guys have a great rest of your day. Remember, I have the power to change, and so do you. Bye.
Bye, guys.